channel. I'm Katerina, or Kat if you're new here. And in today's video, we are in a new month, which means another bookish monthly reset video for the month of May. These monthly reset videos are just a way for me to kind of hit a pause on life and kind of like reevaluate my goals, give myself an opportunity to kind of just have a refresh of my mind and do things that really make me happy. And I have a few things that I definitely want to get done over the next few days. I did purchase a new journal. While I don't have a reading journal, and I've tried doing reading journals in the past and it's just so hard for me to keep up with, I do daily journaling, as well as I actually want to start a new journal for my one-line diaries journal, which I will talk about in a little bit. I do need to run to the library to pick up a few books that I have on hold, as well as to pick up a few other books that have been on my radar for some time. I also think I need to kind of reorganize my TBR card, as well as I want to talk about some potential reads that I have on my mind for the month of May. Now, while I do not set TBRs or anything like that, I always go into the new month with an idea of kind of what I would like to pick up. So this is just going to be a fun, cozy, relaxing monthly bookish reset, and I am excited to get a lot of these things done. So let's get into the rest of this video. So I finished decorating my one-line journal and I really loved how it turned out. I just love the soft pinks, I love the florals, I just love everything about it. I also love this journal where it says, I think, thoughts of sorts. I mean, I just really love how it turned out. So if you don't know what a one-line journal is, it's pretty much a one line every single day of something that, you know, happened in your day, something that was really good in your day. I try to focus on more of the positive, like one positive thing every single day, and just something lighthearted and just really good about that day. I have this tendency to, even especially on bad days, to only think of everything that's bad that's happened that day and not think about the one like good thing out of that day. And that one good thing sometimes, like for example, one of the good things that I wrote was a cozy night of reading. That was the only good thing that day that happened, and yet I still found something that was good about that day, whether it's reading, finishing a book, sipping my coffee. I think one of them that I wrote down was also, honestly, one of them says, honestly, the nap I took, it was needed. Just things like that help me look back and realize that there there was definitely more positive than negative going on, especially if it was a really bad day. I've thought about getting back into reading journals. I used to have a reading journal a really long time ago. However, I just really struggled keeping up with it. I was too much of a perfectionist, and so I would always get behind in my reading journal. And at the end of the day, I really love simplistic. Like, this to me is extremely simplistic. It's one line. It's just something I can quickly write. I could try maybe doing another reading journal and keeping it extremely simplistic like I do with my other journals. However, I just don't know if I could keep to it like I would want to. I see all these beautiful reading journals out there, but at the end of the day, I don't know. It's just not something that I think I want to get back into. So did that. Now I actually do need to run to the library. I have a few books on hold, as well as there are a few books that I want to pick up that I would like to read this month. So I'm gonna head out and I'm gonna go to the library. So I went to the library, picked up some books. I had a few books that I needed to pick up, and then there was a few more books that have been on my radar for a little bit of time. I love my local library. I try to utilize it as much as possible. I try to, especially with books or authors I really am not sure if I'm going to enjoy yet. I do like to use my local library. But the first book that I picked up while at the library, this was a one that was on hold for me, was Agnes Aubert's Mystical Cat Shelter. This is by Heather Fawcett. Heather Fawcett, also the author of the Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairy, or Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. And I have tried picking up that trilogy for some time, and every time I've started it, it's just not been my cup of tea. But this one did sound interesting and really cozy. This follows our main character, Agnes, who owns a cat shelter. However, she's currently in the midst of trying to find a new location for her cat shelter because of the fact that there was a duel in her neighborhood and it ended up destroying her cat shelter. And she ends up coming across this one area for rent where the rent is very cheap. She just would rather turn a blind eye to it than question why it's cheap. And so she moves in and finds out that now her cat shelter is a front for a magician's shop. And that just sounded fun to me. It sounded very cozy. I do love cozy fantasy, so I figured I might as well give this one a go. Then I also had on hold The Wishing Game by Meg Schaefer. I did read The Book Witch. I did talk about it in my reading wrap-up for April. I absolutely loved The Book Witch. I ended up giving it a 4.5 star, and I have been told that The Wishing Game is just as good. So this follows our main character, Lucy Hart, who absolutely loves books, and specifically this series called the Clock Island series by Jack Masterson. And she is now 26. She's a teacher, and she loves sharing her love of books, but especially sharing her love of books with an orphan named Christopher Lamb. And Lucy would give anything to adopt Christopher. However, she just doesn't have the money or the means to be able to adopt him. However, there's apparently a competition at the, I think, what was it, the Clock Island, where this series is based off of. So she ends up trying to, enter the contest and win it. I don't know. I love any book about books. And so the next one I picked up was one that I actually saw in my local bookstore, and I read the back of it and it sounded really interesting to me, but I didn't really want to buy it, so I did go to my library to see if they had it, and that is A Daughter of Fair Verona by Christina Dodd. This one sounded so interesting to me because at the very beginning it says, once upon a time, a young couple met and fell in love. You probably know that story and how it ended. Hint, badly. Only here's the thing, that's not how it ended at all. Romeo and Juliet are alive and well, and the parents of 7 kids. I'm the oldest with the emphasis on old, a certified spinster at 20 and happy to stay that way. It's not easy to keep your taste for romance with parents like mine. Picture it, constant monologues, passionate declarations, fighting, making up, making out. It's exhausting. Every time they presented me with a betrothal, I've set out to find the groom to be a more suitable bride. After all, someone sensible needs to stay home and manage this household. So this sounded really interesting. I like this spin of, Romeo and Juliet end up surviving, they end up having kids. And then the last one is a sci-fi, or it's a sci-fi, but it's a global warming sci-fi, and I picked up All the Water in the World by Erin Kafal. This apparently a tsunami or a hurricane or whatever natural disaster ends up causing water to cover pretty much 90% of the planet, and there's these pockets of civilizations where people survived on top of roofs, and the main character's family end up actually surviving on top of the American History Museum. Yeah, the American Museum of Natural History, and there is a rule where they can only take so much from the museum. They take as little as possible from the museum because they're trying to survive, and I guess it's just a story of survival. Usually this isn't my cup of tea, but I figured I would give it a try. So yeah, so picked up those 4 books at the library. So I need to update my TBR card. It's kind of bare and a little empty, which is a good thing because that means I'm reading the books that I physically own. However, I am needing to kind of fill in some spots. I also need to put away all of these lovely books from my April wrap up. So that's what I'm gonna do next. Time to talk about my May potential reads. It's really nice to kind of have an idea of what I'm going to be reading next. So these are some of the books that I potentially kind of would like to read this month. Now, I will not get to all of these. There's just way too many of them. And the first one is my current read, which is Recursion by Blake Crouch. This is a sci-fi thriller mystery novel. I mean, when I picked it up, it was in the mystery thriller section, which was very interesting because this is also sci-fi. This follows 2 main characters, a detective as well as a neuroscientist, who both are trying to figure out where this fake memory syndrome is coming from. This is an epidemic that is spreading across the world where people are getting memories that are not their own, and it's causing them to go crazy. This is also my first Blake Crouch book, first book here for May. Then I have a romance that I would love to get to this month, and that is And Now Back to You by B.K. Borison. I love B.K. Borison. She's one of my very few auto-buy authors that is a romance writer, and I love all of her books. The characters that we follow in this one is Jackson and Delilah. They are competing meteorologists, so I'm very excited about this. Another book that I've thought about getting to in May as well was As Long as the Lemon Tree Goes. This is by Zulfa Cato. I did not know anything about this book. I've just picked it up because I really liked the cover of it, because I mean the cover is really gorgeous, but I ended up picking it up, reading the first like 3 pages, and I was instantly hooked. I wanted to know more. This is a historical fiction during the beginning of the Syria revolutions, and this follows our main character who was a pharmacist in training. However, she ends up volunteering at her local hospital due to the amount of wounded and injured coming in. Salama is in this very interesting position where she's seeing all this trauma every single day, and her mind just kind of breaks a little bit, and she ends up creating this imaginary individual that's pretty much telling her to flee, to get out of the country, go to safety, take her family. And she's hearing this voice every single day telling her to flee, telling her to go. She ends up actually running into, I believe, a childhood friend, and now she's stuck between hearing this, this persona that she's created telling her to leave, and then this other part of her that's telling her to stay and fight for her country and fight for Syria's freedom. I'm very excited, and I hope that I'm able to get to this in May. Then there are a few fantasies. I will not be able to get to all of these fantasies. One of them is The Second Death of Locke. This is by V.L. Bavellino. This follows Lady Knights, where a knight her job is to protect her magician, and she's kind of this vessel for her magician to be able to wield magics through and everything. I do love the Lady Knight trope. Then I would really love to wrap up this trilogy this month so that I can start another of this individual's series, and that is The Hero of Ages by Brandon Sanderson. If you have not heard of the Mistborn series, if you haven't heard of anything by Brandon Sanderson, Sanderson. I don't know what to tell you besides go read his books. They are accessible, they're easy to read, but yet they have such amazing magic systems, world building, political intrigue. This is the third and final book in the Mistborn Era 1 trilogy, and I do want to finish this one to be able to get to the Stormlight Archives, which is a huge series. And then another one that I would love to continue for a series is Mr. J. Kristoff with Empire of the Damned. This is the second book in the Empire of the Vampire trilogy. If you haven't heard of this one, this is a dark, gothic, gory that revolves around the darkest of creatures that have been created, and that is vampires. It takes the original vampire and amplifies on the darkness of vampires. This is a potential for May as well. So yeah, so definitely quite a few books that I would like to get to in May. Will it happen? Probably not. These are just books that are on my radar, as I said. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you liked this kind of a little bit chaotic, a little bit all over the place monthly reset. Definitely let me know in the comments below any books that you're really excited about for May. And if you like this video and you want to see other videos like this or other books videos, definitely subscribe to my channel. I will see you in my next video. Bye.